Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make, and that confession is that I do not always have the best ideas when it comes to video creation. So, if you're interested in seeing specific topics or getting specific answers, please comment down below what you would like to see in the next video. And I'll probably say that again at the end of the video, but the reason I have to say that now is because I'm actually using YouTube's AI inspiration model. It's like reading your comments and it's giving me recommendations. So the main recommendation it said that I should do today was to talk about how to activate Christ consciousness, like the practical aspects of it and what you should and should not be doing. So I'm going to talk about that today. But with that being in mind, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for all of the new subscribers. We've had like 500 people in the last week subscribe to the channel, which is awesome. It's more engagement I've had all year. So thank you so much for all of the wonderful content that you guys are sharing and your comments. I love all you guys so much. You're so cool to be here with us on this journey, and I'm just really, really grateful and appreciative for all of you guys. Please continue spreading awareness. Please continue sharing the videos. I know that a lot of people believe that they're experts in this field. They're proving to not be based off of a lot of the data that we're bringing forth. That doesn't mean they don't have good content though. So I'm going to probably name drop a lot of people in this video, but that's okay. Just, keep a lot of this stuff in mind, and lots of love to you guys. I just super, super, super appreciate you. But today we're going to talk about health habits. This is not medical advice. Please talk to your doctor or practitioner in any regard. So please do not take this as medical advice once again. I have to put that as like my little thing. But I am going to talk about some health habits here. First and foremost, what are we talking about in terms of sacred secretion cycle? Remember, we have an anatomical process that happens once every single month in which our body facilitates a healing mechanism where we prolong life and we reverse aging and we excel our consciousness. I don't want to sit here and pretend like I'm a good maybe role model for this, because that sounds maybe a little too narcissistic and egotistical, but I am 31 years old. I speak pretty well. I have great health. Okay. And a lot of that is because of the health practices and habits that I've adopted. And let me be clear. I went to United States College, okay, university. All right. I was in that headspace as a young 20-something-year-old in the early 20s. I drank, I smoked. I didn't really do anything harder than that. I did have an experience at the end of my college career with dimethyltryptamine, and that is one of the big major key factors that kind of sprung me into the deeper awakenings and understandings. From there, I have experimented with a number of psychedelics, but nothing that would be so crazy that it really took me out of myself and wanted me to do wild things. I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, I'm on a spiritual journey, man. I'm on the quest. I'm like the new Jesus. I've awakened into myself. I'm going to go take mushrooms and fornicate in the woods with all my friends. It's like, all right, you don't know what you're talking about. I know that you're still on your mission. You're on your journey, but you're just making kind of an ass out of yourself. And that is what I want to try to avoid for people. I want to give you guys the shortcuts of what I've experienced and what I've been through at 31. Just the other day, I had somebody comment, very funny. They were like, you're 13 going on 30. You look really young, but you definitely are sharing like wonderful wisdom with everyone. Yes, I'm aware that I have a atrocious baby face. That's actually what it's been described as in the past by people who try to mock you online. I love it. I mean, 31 years old and I don't look anywhere close to it. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to make it be like anything greater than it is. I really appreciate the fact that I still have my youth, and I'm just going to continue to propel into my youth. And I'm going to keep practicing these things. So I'm just sharing with you what works for me. None of this is medical advice, as I said before, but this is really my methodology, my methodological practices that I perpetuate, I guess. I don't know. My brain likes to speak big words because it makes me sound smart. But at the end of the day, these are just my practices. So if you get some cool engagement from it, great. If not, then whatever. First and foremost, one of the big things that I do not do is I do not drink alcohol. I know that is much more of an older generation thing. If you're Gen X or baby boomer watching this video, maybe you're part of the older, or I guess the younger millennial crowd. No, it'd be the older millennial crowd. I'm 31, so anybody who's probably like in their mid 40s. Alcohol is a big deal. Don't do alcohol. Number two, don't masturbate. Just not good for you. It's a lot more forgivable for women than it is for men, but still for women, the only reason you should be doing it is if you're really not getting any action, because your pelvic floor can diminish, and you kind of need that lower body mechanism to work and function. I would try to avoid masturbation if you're a man, almost entirely. But that being said, there's a lot of false practices which are being spread around. Remember that everything is a balance, okay? God would not give you a penis and a vagina if he didn't want you to use it. God wouldn't give you a stomach if he didn't want you to use it. And I know people who have gone on the extreme end of health practices. I know people who have fasted for like 2 years straight, doing nothing but drinking fruit juice. And they just looked and awful, and they just had very negative attitude on everything. Psychosis is a real bitch, because they'll sit there and tell you that like everything's great, and meanwhile their health is in the trash, and they can't manifest and they can't get anything they want. So couple key points. Number one, I've done a lot of different, I don't know what you would call it, maybe homeopathic, not so common health practices, right? I much more go into the spiritual sense. So first and foremost, like one great example, I try to avoid pork. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. If I'm out with my family every once in a while, I'm gonna slay some bacon, because bacon's delicious and it tastes great. And our pigs today are actually a hell of a lot cleaner if you get it sourced from the right places, than they were 2,000 years ago, when all those books were written and pigs were eating each other and eating crap and nobody knew blah blah blah. Does that still mean that you shouldn't eat pork? I don't think eating pork is very viable. I don't think it's very good. But you go to Asia, their skin is flawless, because a lot of the time, because they have a lot of collagen. They eat a lot of pork, and that's very good for your skin. So just keep in mind, everything's a balance at the end of the day. Fasting is wonderful for you, but if you over fast your body, you are going to lock yourself into some really, really negative emotional things. Fasting should be used, as a once in a while kind of thing. And this whole idea that we have, where it's like, oh, my sacred secretion, I'm going to fast for like 3, 4, 5 days. It's like, no. You should be doing maybe a day fast, or like a long-term ketogenic keto fast, which would be like the 16-hour ketosis fast. Maybe don't eat breakfast and lunch, and then you have a nice dinner of like healthy foods, okay? Healthy, organic, enriched foods. That would be a much better recommendation, rather than, people doing this 3-day fast. And again, I've perpetuated a lot of this myself. I've shared a lot of details and data from people that I trusted back in the day. And then, you experiment, you run a case study, whereas none of these other people are running case studies. And you've come to find that it's not really the best thing, and people really don't like it. And it's not even about the struggle of it. It's like, it's not the best for you if you're already healthy. So a lot of people like you guys who are watching, a lot of people may be on a health quest already, and have already worked on their health, and have already done the detoxes and the heavy metals, and done the spirulina detoxes and whatever. If you're already in a healthy spot, you really don't got to worry too much about fasting, unless it's like you're overeating and you're gaining weight and you're not feeling too good and you're bloated all the time for a while. And it's just like, you don't have to focus so hard. Now, I'm coming from a standpoint of being 31 years old, and my health is in great shape. I exercise pretty much every day. At the very least, I'll go on a walk. I try to get my strength training in. I try to get a little bit of cardio in every month, because cardio is not like the ultimate best thing for you when you're in high intensity cardio. It actually can damage a lot of things, because you're overrunning your body. But cardio every once in a while is pretty good, especially if you do like the 30 to 90 second sprints. So you do like a 90-second sprint where you run as fast as you can. You do that maybe like, I don't know, maybe like once every 2-3 weeks, once every month maybe. If you do that, I mean, that's like a great way to kind of bust through a lot of negative stored energy and blood flow and things like that, but you really shouldn't be doing it that often. Much more, I'd practice things like Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga. Where I don't do too much, I don't do anywhere near as much yoga as I used to in the past, and the reason for that was because I just started to fall off with it. I like my meditative practices, I like praying, things like that. Those help regulate the nervous system. But I want to talk about diet today. Again, not medical advice. I want to talk about diet. I want to talk about functionality. I want to talk about my practices, purely my practices, just so that I can share. And if you guys want to experiment with it, great. Okay, first and foremost, energy is everything. Emotion is everything. If you're doing things and you're feeling guilty, okay, if you're doing things and you're like, oh, I really want a cheeseburger, and you go and you get a cheeseburger from your favorite restaurant, not fast food. Try to stay away from the fast food. It's just gross. Like, once you start doing home cooked meals and everything else, you start to realize that all that junk is just like, it just doesn't even taste good anymore. It's just so synthetic. So, let's assume you've got a favorite restaurant that has a cheeseburger, and you're watching all these guys: Santos Bonacci, Kelly Marie Kerr, Embodiment Celestial, Revival of Wisdom. None of these people are bad people. None of these people are people that I would say you shouldn't listen to, whatsoever. But I've had so many clients. Okay, guys, I've worked with like probably over 250 people over the last number of years, 3 or 4 or 5 years, and so many. I would say I've had at least, honest number, at least 20 people who have come to me and said, anytime I hear those names, anytime I hear anybody say those names, it's always followed by something negative, unfortunately. And again, this is because they're not doing their research and they're locked in with these false health practices. They're not actually reading their Bibles. They're not actually reading the scripture. They're interpreting things wrong. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. It's the way that it is. And I love these people. I used to be really good friends with Kelly, and we had a falling out. Santos and I had a number of conversations in which you can find on this channel. You can find on my YouTube channel. We did we did one podcast, and then we've had multiple conversations following that. I have Zach and I have Zach's phone number, Embodiment Celestial. I have Divine Being Divine Julio's phone number. I've tried getting into contact with Revival of Wisdom. These guys, they're not bad guys, but they, first and foremost, I can tell you that they are not fully honest. Okay, they are doing this thing where they're trying to come off as like really holier than thou, and they're trying to imply that if you do anything outside of the scope of what they believe, then it's wrong or it's bad. Don't ever feel guilty. Okay, guilt and shame and remorse, those are some of the most worst negative emotional frequencies you can have. People just want to sell you on books and courses. They want to take you down a rabbit hole of negativity because it's the same exact functional model of the church. Okay, instill the fear, instill the guilt, instill the fact that it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know your own body. I'm going to teach you all these things. If you're already on this quest and this journey, you already eat healthy, you already do the fasting, you already do the exercising, you already do the meditation, you already do the stretching. There's not much more you can do when it comes to your health practices in terms of feeling positive versus negative. Because what these people are doing is they're instilling, fear. And the reason they're instilling fear is because they want to be the experts, and they want you to come back, and they want you to buy all the books and courses, and they want you to drink their version of the Kool-Aid. Well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm biased, okay? I'm biased. I have my own model, my own system, and I'm going to have you drink my Kool-Aid if you're here watching, right? It's just natural, okay? Everybody's a salesman, including me. But at the end of the day, we have to promote actual proper health practices and not this wackadoo fucking new age nonsense. Okay, first and foremost, veganism, not good for you. If you're vegan, totally cool. If it works for you, totally cool. Blood type is a big thing in this, and there are some people, I think it's the A blood type, or it's the AB, it's one of those. I could be wrong, but I think it's that one. Blood type plays a huge factor in this. Some people's blood types are more in line with farmers, and they are really good at processing and eating vegetables, fruits, raw nuts, and wheat. Some people's bloodline comes from hunters, and they're much more prone to eating meat and dairy because that's what their ancestors were used to. So, understand your lineage, understand where you come from, understand what your body wants and what it needs. You're the only one who's going to know that, okay? So don't go following just what I say or what anybody else says. Follow what your gut actually tells you. If you're eating meat and you feel great, then and you feel like you're working on your spirituality and your manifestation potential is good, don't believe these nonsensical people who are telling you that meat is bad. But meat is acidic. You don't know what you're talking about. Of course meat is acidic, and so is coffee, which a lot of these vegan people consume anyway. So are blueberries, so are strawberries, raspberry, berries in general, which, by the way, a lot of vegans promote. Eat your berries, antioxidants. Super acidic. Super acidic. I mean, water, depending on where you get it from, is acidic, right? So, but don't we want to be alkaline? Yes, you do want to stay alkaline. Dr. Sebi, he was right about that. But what he was wrong about was saying that mucus is the end-all, be-all, and it's evil. Let me tell you something about the human body, okay? As you can see by this picture, we have 12 cranial nerves, 12 systems of the body, and we have also 12 cell salts. I'm going to leave this up so that you guys can study this. I think I'm blocking certain parts here, but just so you're aware, here's Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, just so that you can see that, because I know I'm kind of blocking it here, but that would be the order. So if you're any of those, here's what you can kind of study. Now, as you'll notice, all of these on the right hand side, you're not seeing any meats, you're not seeing any dairy products. This is all like raw fruits and vegetables and nuts and stuff like that. That's because the people who are leading the charge in this entire headspace of cell salt signatures and whatnot, these more homeopathic concepts of health practices nowadays, they're all coming from this very strange new age vegetarian vegan standpoint. Now again, do I advocate the fact that we murder animals and they store negativity, they store fear and emotions and yada yada? No, of course not. The current meat farming industry, the current dairy industry is just horrible, and you're not really going to be able, you're going to struggle to find very good, like, non-processed, good organic stuff. But if you have a butcher shop, if you know people who grow things locally and they're good people and blah, 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 then I would say that you're ahead of the game, right? Like, meat from McDonald's is nowhere close to the same thing as getting an organic steak from a farmer that lives down the road. They're not even the same. Like, you want to talk about like apples to oranges? This is like apples to feet, like the human foot. Okay, I'd rather eat a human foot than eat McDonald's. Well, maybe not. I don't know, but I'd rather not eat McDonald's. Okay, that's my point. We have to recognize and understand that everybody's different. Blood types change everybody's signatures. And also, too, you guys have to recognize this whole fasting thing where they're like telling you to fast 3 days a month. I was one of those people who was telling people that same thing. I have to eat crow on this. It's wrong. It's wrong. You cannot fast 3 days a month. That's way too much for the body. Way, way, way too much. And I know because I tried it and I've had other people try it, and we did case studies with over 50 people, all right, for like a scientific study that was submitted to doctors and professors and blah, 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 okay? And it was approved, all right? These other people are not doing that, all right? These other people are not working with other people in a one-on-one setting. Okay, they're just not, all right? They do their little cutesy calls and whatnot, but they don't have the credentials to back it up. And I'm not saying that you even need that. I'm not trying to make it about that. It's the care that you put into it. You can tell some of these people just want to sell you on things, okay? That includes me. I want you guys to join my communities. I want you guys to join my tools and get my books and blah, blah, blah. Of course I do. That's why that's one of the big reasons I make this stuff, but it's because I put a lot of value and emphasis on trying to make sure that I had the proper information, because I don't want to hurt anybody, okay? You can't go around telling people that they have to be vegan, and if you eat meat, you're going to hell, and if, this and that, like, if you eat meat, you're a bad person. I've heard that, like, from these clowns multiple times. It's wrong. It's incorrect, okay? Let me explain why. Mucus. We're going back to mucus. Your body has a love-hate relationship with mucus, Okay. On one hand, mucus is a harborer of diseases. Mucus, I mean, when you get sick, you're just constantly coughing up mucus. You know, you get all congested in your sinuses. Mucus is definitely a harborer of illness. Mucus is also the baseline necessary product that your spleen, which is the immune headquarters of your body, requires in order to create white blood cells. Did you know that? Did they leave that little jingle jangle out of the equation when they were talking to you about this stuff? People who go through that hyper vegetarian vegan diet, okay, they get sick very easily after a while. Yeah, okay, I tried veganism and I tried carnivore diet, okay. Veganism, I tried pure vegan, all right, no meat products at all. First month, I felt great. You want to know why? It's because I had so much crap in my body, and having a lot of healthy organic foods outside of the processed stuff really did help. Month 2 started to fall off. I was like waking up super sluggish. Okay, and I was practicing all the other stuff. I was practicing celibacy. I was practicing, the kundalini, getting my energy in check, doing exercises, all that stuff. I was waking up sluggish. I was feeling really lethargic. I was feeling unmotivated almost. Month 3, I was falling asleep at work. Okay, my boss actually came in and said, "Hey, you've fallen asleep. That's like the second time I've caught you asleep at your desk," he was right. And he said, "I know you're on this new diet, but maybe you should eat some meat." That day, I sat there. I decided, okay, I think I do need to do this. I went to a local restaurant, bought a cheeseburger, went home. It was the most delicious thing I ever had. And the next day I woke up and I felt phenomenal, guys. Okay, so if you're on that psyop of the veganism and meat is acidic, of course it's acidic. pH balance is a balance. All right, you can get acidic by eating too much fruits and vegetables. In fact, if you overconsume fruit, you start to create gut alcohol. Go look into that. You will literally produce alcohol within your stomach, which will be the most acidic thing, because alcohol is really acidic in general. It ferments in your stomach and then starts to degrade your body. Okay, so no, don't buy into this fucking nonsense, all right, because it's stupid. You can choose to go on a diet and you can be vegan for a limited time, but then you have to incorporate balance back into your diet. And this is a missing key point for so many people. And you have to start being honest. Just because some guy will say, this is how the psyops work, folks. All right, if you are not familiar with psychological operations, they give you like 70% truth, 50, 60, it has to be more than 50% threshold. They'll give you 50, 60, 70% truth, and then the rest of the percentage is a lie to lock you in. That's where the fear factor comes in. They will lock you into a lie so that you're like, oh my God, I don't know am I doing this right? Do you know how many times I meet with people? It still happens today. It just happened this week a couple of times. I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this right? Guys, listen to your body, okay? Study the Gnostics. God put his light within you. Sophia, the divine mother, put an aspect of the monad within you, the divine light, the creator. All right, you are connected to source. You don't need to listen to me, and you don't need to listen to other people. I am a humble guide. That is all I am. I do not think I'm anything greater than I am. I'm just a dude, all right? I am just a fucking dude. But I will tell you that you will know better than anybody else. You will be the only one who knows the truth deep within your body and your soul and your spirit. That is what is here to guide you so that you can be the healthiest and the best optimal person for yourself. Okay, so you've got 12 systems and they all require things. All right, they need iron, they need B vitamins. Okay, and there's like a plethora of other ones I can't remember off the top of my head that is found in meats, beef, chicken, fish, okay, eggs. All right, you need these minerals, you need them. Okay, you cannot believe these people who are just like, oh well, meat equals acidic, meat equal bad. It's like, no, that's so low level nonsense. They are so unbalanced in their lives, and trust me, I know. You want to know why? Because I have their phone numbers. They're texting me asking for donations because they're low on funds. I think everybody's low on funds right now. They're texting all their friends, like talking about like the fucking food that they're eating, and I know for a fact. I mean, even Julio talks about this. Divine being divine, and embodiment celestial, and revival of wisdom all got in this tiff a couple months ago. And divine being was like, "Hey, look, they're all frauds," and he was posting he was leaking the group chats. And it turns out that these guys are not doing what they're telling you to do. I will tell you straight up what I'm doing. Okay, no masturbation. All right, you get a girlfriend, you get a boyfriend. Okay, you become celibate, and you stop leaking your energy out of your body so you can find a partner. All right, for number one. Number two, eat healthy. Number three, exercise. But you got to have balance. Balance is the key. You can't just sit here and be like, I'm going to be a monk and I'm going to turn everything away. And that means that when the landlord comes with the rent check, I'm just going to say, hey, man, we've got to transcend through this. You're still fucking here physically. You can't do that. You can't just ignore your responsibilities, your fiscal responsibilities. Unfortunately, I wish that we could live in a world where everything was free, but we don't. Okay, nothing is free. Nothing good is free anyway. So if you want to unlock the truth of this process, you have to walk the middle path, balance. Okay, you want further evidence of this? Do you guys like Jesus? Do you guys like the story of Jesus? Did Jesus sit there and say, hey, veganism? No, he said bread, fish, and wine. And he also said man cannot live off of bread alone. And then you're going to point to, but it says in the Old Testament that God created all of the seeds for the earth for us to eat and consume. Yeah, but it doesn't say that you can't eat flesh of animals, number one. They were eating lamb. They were eating fish, okay? Number two, you have to understand, like, the Old Testament is a little bit wackier than the New Testament. And also that seed refers to anything that can grow from the Hebrew language, okay? If you go and you study the phonetics and the linguistics of the Old Testament, you look into the actual Hebrew, not the English translation, it doesn't mean seed like just a seed that you would put in the ground. You also have seeds which grow into people and animals and such like that. And of course, we're not doing cannibalism here, which kind of plays into the whole McDonald's thing. But, Soylent Green or whatever the hell it's called. That's a joke. That's conspiratorial. But, probably. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or the other because shit. I've eaten McDonald's in the past and it probably does taste like people. But anyway, so seed can refer to anything that grows. It could be the seed of a bull going into a cow to grow a calf, okay? In which case that calf grows into something that is another cow, and then you slaughter that cow and you eat it. All right. Seed could really refer to a lot of things. So don't buy into this nonsense where they're taking one verse in the Bible out of context. Jesus came, he ate fish. All right. I don't want to hear it. He ate fish, he gave it to everybody, and he said, yo, this is some good stuff. So I like to follow Jesus. I'm not following the demiurge of the Old Testament and whatever the hell that he believed and whatever he was trying to instill upon the Jewish faith, because that's what it is. It's two different gods. That's why Jesus comes and he says, hey, by the way, you're worshiping the devil, basically. So long story short, health practices, right? We have to be productive in the way, and we have to be honest. Okay. Do I recommend eating meat all the time though? Probably not. You need to have a good balance. Okay. And I think that especially in an American diet, we really throw fruits and vegetables out the door. And that is exactly why people are obsessed with veganism, is because they're like, well, the government lies to us about everything. So if they want us to eat meat, then I should just only eat fruits and veggies. It's like, okay, you can't do that with everything. Like I said, they're going to give you most of the truth and they're going to lie about the parts that they want you to be afraid of. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, we talked about diet. Okay, we talked about diet a good bit. Exercise. Okay, I don't think you need to do full-on cardio, but like stretching is probably the most important because of your fascia, because of your nervous system. All right, now if you don't know what that stuff is, go look into it. But that one I've already kind of talked on too. Sexual preferences. Okay, First and foremost, cut the porn out. Stop watching pornography. Don't do anything that is going to train your brain to do anything nasty. Okay, porn is gross, and we don't need it. All right. Honestly, I think it should be illegal. It just incentivizes the wrong types of things. It hurts kids. You know, it hurts young women. It hurts young men. You know. So porn is bad. Don't wire your brain in that way. It's gross. It's disgusting. You don't need to look at it. As intriguing as you might think it is, or as, you know, whatever, addicted as you might be. I work with a lot of people. They all have porn addictions. Not all of them. That's not what I mean. There are some people I've worked with that have porn addictions, and it's just such an ugly beast. Love should be the center of everything, not lust. Okay, so keep that in mind. You don't need to jack off. You don't need to masturbate. It's not necessary. Now, with that in mind, I've studied a lot of the Tao. I've studied the Neidon of the Chinese alchemists. There's another great book I've prattled around on this channel for a while called Cupid's Poisoned Arrow. The science is clear. All right, a man that ejaculates needs roughly 3 weeks in order for his brain chemistry to fully come back online to a point of normalcy. Okay, 3 weeks. Now, most of you guys are not getting that. Most of you guys are shooting it within that 3 week time frame. Don't do that. Okay, I'm speaking from personal experience. However, the longer that you maintain your celibacy as a man, the better, right? However, there is a caveat. Your body does need to recycle. That is actually a true thing. Your prostate fluid can become way too it can basically kind of like engorge itself, and then you can kind of have problems later on in life. So again, it comes down to balance. The Chinese would say that you should ejaculate for recycling purposes once every month. And what I've discovered, especially if you have a partner, this is so much better if you have a partner. In fact, I would not recommend that you do this until you have a partner. The longer that you hold off on ejaculation, the faster you will get a partner. That's a real point that I've seen like a lot, okay? But I know it's hard for a lot of guys, okay? For me, it was a lot easier because I'm really focused on the spiritual faith of it. But if you have a partner, once a month is a good time frame. And that is when you get to a point of doing the performances, go 1 month, 2 months, 3 months of saving the seed so that you can activate the processes. I know some guys that are like, hey, I've done it, for 10 years and I've remained celibate. How do they do that? You're probably asking. What if they have a partner, whatever? You can have sex without ejaculation, okay? And it's not blue ballsing it. It's not rough sex where you're like, getting ready to shoot and then you stop yourself or you grip the base or whatever. I've heard like weird stuff. No, it's called love making, guys. We had this thing called the Kama Sutra, and it taught us a lot of really great, cool stuff. And for both women and men, we do have to use our sexual organs because it's a piston and it harnesses energy, and you can still have sex without ejaculation. So you want to look at this as a tiered model. First and foremost, if you're a guy on the lowest level, let's say you're jacking off every day, every other day or something like that. I was a teenager once too, 15, 20 years ago. 15 years ago. I get it, okay? But start at the floor. Start small, okay? Keep going longer and longer and longer until you can hit multi-month periods of time. Once you get a partner, all right, things get a little honeymoony, and I understand the female desires, okay? Women like that stuff. Women like ejaculation in certain parts of their body and stuff like that, all right? It is the mystery of sex. It is a lofty illusion. It's a beautiful thing, whatever. Once you get those hormones out a little bit, everybody goes through a honeymoon phase. Let's not fucking deny that we're human beings, all right? Once you get the hormones out, you have to get into a state of normalcy where you can make love. Now, if it's really hard for you, again, try to hit that once every 3 to 4 week period. All right, if you're going to ejaculate as a man, try to hit that once to 3 to 4 week period. Now, for women, I actually think it's quite okay for women to orgasm. However, you have to have balance with it. Okay, you have to, because orgasm is really wonderful for the female body, and it's also very harmful. Don't buy into this Lilith nonsense of, oh yeah, you want to, oh my pussy, it's so great and it's the most powerful object in the world. It's a portal of life. It is a portal of life. So let's fucking respect it. If you had a portal that could open up life, would you be hitting that button every 5 seconds? No, that's stupid, all right? Have some balance with it, okay? If you're a woman and you orgasm maybe like once every week, once every 2 weeks, I really haven't found too many women who have had negative experiences from that. However, masturbating, get a guy, get a woman, maybe you're not heterosexual, whatever. Get a partner, okay? And go about it that route, because you're gonna have better times with it. Now, if you're like, no, I'm single, I'm on my boss bitch era, whatever, cool. Just remember that Lilith is an egregoric energy that exists, and she wants to bring you away from, finding a good man because she's a jealous bitch. Okay, just understand what that actually means and what that encompasses. There is a dark feminine as well as a divine feminine, just like there's a dark masculine and divine masculine. What's funny is that the women who are super spiritual will be like, oh, I love the divine feminine, blah, blah, blah. And it's this demonic masculine energy. It's like, okay, you're the type of woman who's playing completely into the demonic feminine, who wants segregation, who wants separation, which is not what the divine feminine wants. Okay, divine feminine and masculine want to have unity. All right, they want to have solidarity in their unity, but the demonic energies want separation. So if you're a woman and you're like, I'm so spiritual and blah blah blah, I take mushrooms and I just like fornicate in the woods and whatever, remember that we have microchimerism as a concept. Okay, when you're a woman or a man and you're taking in other people's fluids, all right, for women, seminal fluid will actually hijack your brain. True fact. Go look into microchimeric sciences. Okay, you're gonna have to dig deep to find it, but you're gonna find that women can get pretty heavily addicted to those to the men, because the seminal fluid essentially almost hijacks the brain. Okay, so if you're taking in a lot of guys' energy, the DNA fights within the body, and it causes a lot of negative conflicts. Fortunately for you, I have developed a DNA formula which can help you with that, and it should be coming out next year. It's still in the laboratory. But if you're a man, there are also very small chemicals from the woman's juices, her essences, which can go seep into the penis or go up the penile tract of the urinary tract, and it can seep in to the man. It's all pheromones, guys. So when you're having unprotected sex, I know this is like, people will be like, that's crazy, or a lot of you guys probably think this makes sense, but you always get that one guy that's like, it's normally a woman, because she's like, she feels bad about her past. Don't feel bad about your past. You, just the same way you can fast and you can get rid of like cancers and other things in the body, so too can you fast from sex, and you can, your DNA can heal itself by getting rid of all that junk DNA from other men. But you cannot keep lying to yourself and saying like body count and stuff doesn't matter. It's not even really body count. If you're having protected sex like with a condom and he's not, in you, then it's probably better for you from that perspective. But if we all know, okay, it's unprotected, and we all know what's happening. Okay, let's not pretend. We're all adults here, right? If you're just going to keep taking in other guys' juices, you're going to go crazy. It's just science, all right? The woman's body was not built for that mechanism. So you have to clear that DNA and that data before you enter into a new romantic partnership with another man. This is why virgin relationships were always promoted. And it wasn't just the woman, it was the man too. All right, let's not pretend this is some patriarchal idea. It was the man too. They were both taught to try at their very best to be virgins, before marriage. It doesn't always work out, especially with the guys. They would go around doing whatever. But anyway, when it comes to the sexual question, be very cautious and careful with sexuality. Try to engage in lovemaking. That's what the Kama Sutra is for. Kundalini, sex tantra, like white magic. Okay, that's white magic. Try your very best, because orgasm is not necessary. What you can do is you can take that energy, refurbish it into the body. Okay, and that's how it functions. Now, with all that being said, let's get into some generalities here and we'll end the video. I haven't been sick in years. Okay, and I mean, knock on wood. But I haven't been sick in years, and the reason is because I keep balance. When I am listening to my body and my body says, "Phew, man, we visited our family and we, had maybe one too many glasses of wine and ate a little bit too much steak. What do you think?" I'll be like, "Shit, I gotta fast. I gotta at least go a day without eating, and I just gotta let my body process through this. I'll take some NAC, I'll take some glutathione, I'll take some spirulina, chlorella, whatever it is that I've got in my arsenal from an apothecary standpoint, and I'll take that and I'll move forward in that direction of trying to clear out the body. If I've been eating too light and I'm starting to feel tired and lethargic as a man, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat some meat. I'm gonna go to the store, I'm gonna get a really nice steak, I'm gonna go to a butcher shop, get a really nice steak, and I'm gonna go from there. Now, let's also talk about caveats and differences between men and women. Women are ruled by the moon, men are ruled by the sun, so we need balance. Okay, if you're a solar entity like a male, you need lunar food. That would be meats, cheeses, and anything that is time based in aspect of growing over a long-term period of time, like cheese is mold, dairy, and also meats, because the whole cow has to grow up and evolve and everything else. And masculine related foods are ones that are competitive or are brought with action, that is from a standpoint of having to slaughter and sacrifice an animal's soul. So we have to be very appreciative of that soul that was put into the food. So always pray over your food, always. Now, if you're a woman, you're ruled by the moon, which means that you need more solar foods, which would be fruits, vegetables, and nuts, grains. And this is, ironically, when you study across the board, cross-culturally, more men crave meat and more women crave fruits and vegetables. How odd is that? It's so weird. It's almost like there's some kind of science to this, but that damn science, it just doesn't coalesce with all of this spiritual woo-woo nonsense, mysticism. Our bodies are beautiful vessels. I think this image is AI generated. It looks a little wonky. The heart's not connected into the liver like that. But anyway, we have to respect the bodies that God gave us. Okay, we have to respect our standpoint of balance, right? Jesus walked the middle path. Buddha walked the middle path. Now, if fasting works for you and you feel great, good, keep doing it. If eating meat in your carnivore diet feels great, good, keep doing it. But what you're going to find is that the people who stray away from balance are going to have the most health problems. Jordan B. Peterson, for example, Dr. Peterson, he, whether you love him or hate him, I met him in person. I shook his hand, gave him a copy of our book, and I'm still indifferent on the guy, to be honest with you. Because if he had read my book, maybe he wouldn't be in the hospital. I hate to say it like that because it sounds so petty and negative, but it's true. I gave him a copy of our book when he was still standing, still walking, still healthy. That was 4 years ago, and he looked at it. You could tell that he was impressed by the size, he was impressed by the symbology, but he wasn't going to read it. He handed it off to his people, and that was that. Now he's in the hospital and he's dying, and he was a big promoter of carnivore diet, and now his nervous system is completely shut down. And he's got all these health problems. Well, yeah, because you've overcreated mucus in your body, and you've stalled. When you eat too many meat products, your body's going to clench in on those nerves, and your blood flow is going to be all screwed up. And of course, he's got nervous system issues. He's an Aquarius, for God's sake. If he actually studied medical astrology, he would know this, but he didn't. And he went the other route. He went the more scientific route, and it just doesn't help. So if you're going to practice carnivore diet, if you're going to practice veganism, just do it for extended periods of time. Okay, I've practiced both, and I can tell you that carnivore diet made me feel great at first. Then again, it made me feel backed up, constipated, and lethargic, I guess, in a different way, where I was just kind of more angry. So I was unmotivated because it was that kind of lazy anger where you're just kind of pessimistic and negative. And I don't know if I was just getting bad meat or whatever the case might be. But I will tell you, I've been very happy since I switched many years ago to a balanced diet. Now, how do I practice? when the moon goes into when the moon goes into my sidereal sun sign, which would be Gemini. Okay, when the moon enters the sign of Gemini, that is where I begin facilitating the practice. Okay, and I'll even start it when the moon goes into Taurus, just because I like to get a little head start. What do? I start to eat a little bit less than I normally would. But that doesn't mean like I'll full on skip meals. I try to fast. I try to do like the keto fast of like 16 hours. But I'll do that. And then I will fast on the day where the moon is directly in the same position as when it was by the degree. So if I wake up and the moon's going to go from degrees, 2 to 16 of Cancer, I was degree 11 of Cancer. So I'm going to fast for the majority of that day. If I'm feeling really, really hungry and I'm understanding it's not a temptation, it's more like my body really does need sustenance, I'll go real light and I'll have a fruit smoothie, or I'll have I'm not really a big purveyor of salads. I like salads, but I don't really eat them during my sacred secretion because, salad dressings, and most people put like meat in it or whatever. Try to stay light. Now, I've had cheeseburgers. I've eaten steaks, on when the moon was in my sun sign. And I will tell you that it does definitely make a difference in the way that you feel in regards to the process. But you want to know why I ate those steaks? It was like a holiday or something, It was my birthday or something. I've been doing this for years. So you got to imagine that there have been times where that sun sign or the moon has aligned with my sun sign when it's been like a big holiday and there's like pot roast and there's all this stuff. And when I first started this, I was like, no, I can't eat that. And everybody's like looking at you weird, and your family's having a good time drinking wine and eating the food and whatever. And those are memories that you're going to lock yourself out of because you're trying to, force something when, really you want to just kind of join the family. And it's not about, conforming. It's not that. It's on a deeper level. You don't want to feel guilt and shame and remorse. If you're in a situation where you're at home by yourself and you can do all the practices, then great. But if the moon aligns with your sign as a man and you're like, struggling with it and you're feeling bad about it, then you're just going to fuck up the process anyway. So don't do that. Don't do that, okay? You always want to play into feeling good. All right. You want to feel positive. You want to feel happy. You want to feel like you're not making any mistakes in a sense of, I guess it's not even going against the tide or conforming. It's just like, hey, if your family's going to have a good time and you want to build positive memories with them, it's not about getting drunk and, whatever. It's like you're building really positive memories around a holiday or something, then yeah, you should do that. You should do that. You don't have to eat the whole steak. Eat a little bit and you say, hey, I'm not really that hungry, but you eat a little bit, or you have a little bit of wine or something like that. I don't advise doing that as much as, don't make excuses, but also, again, it's about the balance of it and your intention, your heart, your gut, your consciousness. That is what's going to steer you towards making the right decisions. Right? Like, let's say you're just really not that hungry and you're feeling the energy and you want to stay elevated on that. Then come up with some kind of, I wouldn't say excuse, but that's probably the best word I could come up with. Come up with some kind of excuse and just share with your family, hey, I'm on this new diet. I'm just, don't make that extra steak for me. I'm sorry, or whatever. Don't cook the chicken for me. I'm just going to have like something light. But listen to your body, okay? I think a lot of people are overdoing it. They're stressing themselves out and they're scared. They're like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? What am I supposed to do? I'm doing it wrong and blah, blah, blah. If you keep feeling like you're doing it wrong, then you're going to do it wrong. It's about being in oneness, It's about having God understand your intentions. And when you're putting your heart out there and you have the right intentions, then yeah, like it's going to work out great for you. If you don't, then it's going to be problematic and you're not going to be able to raise the oil up into the mind, that exosomal lipid concoction, So if you're a woman, when you're ovulating, same thing. I actually advise that women who are ovulating on their peak ovulation, that's where you should probably try fasting on that day. Never fast during your menstruation. Never fast during your menstruation. In fact, what I advise you all do is during your menstruation or maybe a day before, that is where as a woman you should be eating meat. That is where you should eat steak. You should eat beef. of some kind, because there's so much, it's rich in iron, and it just has helped so many women that I've talked to, because you want to avoid the cramping. Okay, it's very, very simple. You shouldn't sit there in the pain of cramping. And if you can eat some meat a day or two before your period starts, and avoid that, great. Now, again, if you're menopausal, postmenopausal, whatever, go by the phase of the moon that you were born in. And if you're a woman and you already have a working ovulatory cycle, go during ovulation. That is where that energy is going to peak for you. Menstruation is the opposite counterpoint, and this is where I also share with the men when the moon is in your opposite sign. So for me, when the moon enters Capricorn, I'm a Cancer. Opposite of Cancer is Capricorn. So when the moon enters Capricorn for me, that is where you could drink, you can eat food. Why would I condone that? Why would I say that, right? Like, that's not spiritual. Oh my God, I'm evil. I'm an asshole. I'm such a bad person. The reason people drink, and the reason people do drugs, and the reason people have sex with a bunch of people or whatever in their lives, is because it's rooted in the desire for evolution and change. And the only way for us to evolve and change is to kill off parts of ourselves. So when you drink and you're an alcoholic, it's because you're trying to kill away parts of yourself. Psychology, through and through. It's so easy when you come at it, everything from a psychological, grounded, middle path approach, rather than the woo-woo shit, all right? The reason that people do those practices, whether it's having sex with a lot of partners because they're going through a hoe phase, or drinking a lot, or smoking a lot, or doing hard drugs, is because they are trying to kill off parts of themselves. And the way you do that is by killing the cells. So you poison yourself. That is why people do those things. So, but sometimes you can just have a glass of wine and you can enjoy the buzz, right? It's a balance, people. It's a balance, all right? If you are doing these things with the right intentions because you want to change and evolve, you're going to have a wonderful mind and a wonderful soul, and you're going to look young and healthy, all right? And I'm not trying to brag, but I don't look my age, and I know that. And I own it, and I love it, and I don't act my age either. I'm a little bit of a kid, all right? I would say I embody the immortal embryo, the immortal child. That is what I try to embody. You got to stay young, you got to stay healthy. It's a mental thing, okay? But you also have to stay conscious, and you have to be aware, okay? I do not look 31 years old, guys. I don't look 31, and even when I've got the facial hair and everything, I haven't shaved in like 2 or 3 days. Even when I've got the facial hair and everything else, I still don't look my age. I still have the baby face. I still get people giving me weird looks when I go out to restaurants or whatever, and I ask for like a glass of wine or a beer or something, you know? And I only do that. I drink, honest to God, right hand to God, I drink maybe once a month, okay? And when I drink, I never get drunk. I really dislike being drunk, okay? Which you know, I'm sure probably there's a good handful of you that are like, why would you drink and not try to get drunk? That's like the whole point. No. I really don't like alcohol. I'm a Cancer, which is kind of ironic because a lot of water signs do like to drink, especially Pisces. But I just, there's something about alcohol. I've never liked it, even when I was in college and, you know, people drinking all the time and stuff. Never liked it. I was always more of a smoker. I like cannabis. But even today, when I was like 28, I did a lung detox, and I was smoking a lot. I was smoking like probably once every 3 days, and I was getting stoned, you know. I wasn't even trying to like microdose or anything. I was getting stoned like once every 2-3 days for probably a year or two. It was like shortly following COVID and stuff like that, and I was still making videos and stuff. But I was doing it at night and whatever. Not really a day smoker. I don't really like. I did it a couple times, you know, whatever. But I'll tell you, I did a lung detox with mullein leaf. The stuff coming out of my lungs, that scared the shit out of me, and I was like, okay, from this point forward, I am cutting that shit out. I am done. I am not smoking like this anymore. And I didn't from that point on. And I've had little spurts, you know, where we would, you know, me and my old roommates, you'd get a big bag or something. You know, you go to the store. You could just go to the store where I live and you can buy it. It's not really the best stuff, but whatever. So the point is this. Practice makes perfect. You are going to be the only one who knows this stuff. And the whole point is it's about you, guys. The journey is about you. Don't listen to gurus like moi, okay? Don't listen to me. Don't listen to all the guys with the millions of followers and everything else. Don't listen to the bullshit artists that just want to sell you all this crap and then want you to buy all their stuff, okay? They are really just trying to instill fear. I'm trying to instill love. I'm trying to still instill light into people. Okay, let's stop with the fucking aliens. Freemasons are evil, eating babies, drinking blood, and I mean, you know, the world government's a lie, and we're all gonna die, and they're trying to summon the Antichrist, and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, I believe some of that stuff. You know, oh, they're lying about the shape of the Earth, whatever. I believe that there's a world conspiracy that's trying to summon the Antichrist. I 100% believe that. That's just my opinion, though. At the same time, I'm not going to sit there and worry about it. Why? Because the greatest book that was ever written is called the Holy Bible. And at the very end of the book, in this chapter called Revelation, God wins in the end. So if you can't have faith in that, if you can't have faith knowing that God's going to win in the end, how can you call yourself spiritual? How can you say that you're doing the right thing? How can your intentions be pure? Now, let's get into how I can help you even further. With this hour-long ass video. If you like this content, if you like supporting me, if you would like to continue to have my line of spirituality prosper, I have a number of different ways that you can do that. First and foremost, you can join and subscribe to Psycosmos University. It's already popping. We've got some notifications. One new post. Somebody's talking here. We've got some people in the chat. And we've got a good amount of members, and nobody's canceling. Nobody's canceling over here. So if you'd like to join, feel free. I always love having people here. We've got lots of different courses, and I try to stay engaged in it every single day. Every week I do a Q&A where you're welcome to come and ask me any questions during the week. I have tons of different courses and online materials. You can go to my website, download a bunch of stuff for free as well, although the website might be getting shut down soon just because it's really expensive to run that website, and I could probably put all my stuff on here instead. So I'm thinking about doing that just because it's like nobody goes to my website anyway. I've got a lot of different courses. I'm going to be adding more. I just got through like the first rev of all the courses I wanted to do. There's like 20 on here. It also has an affiliate program. So once you sign up, you get a link. And then you can share that link and you'll make 30% commission. You sign up 3 people, you're basically getting your entire membership for free. Once you sign up a 4th person, now you're making money. And it's monthly reoccurring income. So if you've got an online presence, or you want to share my message, or you really believe in what I've got going on, please go check that out. Also, Astraya AI. Now, I would recommend looking into this weekend or next week. I'm still working on some bug fixes, but essentially what this is a model where you can talk to a AI psychologist. Everything is protected. It gives you a lot of breakdowns of astrology that is geared to you. It gives you motivational quotes. It gives you some spiritual stuff. It tells you what you should focus and what you shouldn't focus on today. And then if you get the larger package, you will unlock the astrology page, which gives you way more in-depth information. So for example, it's going to give you all of the keywords of the month and the days. It's going to tell you when things shifts. It has a Schumann's resonance indicator here that's always measuring the Schumann resonance. And then it will give you your own personalized what did it do? I guess it logged me out. So yeah, I've had this open for like an hour, so that would actually make sense. Yeah, it did log me out. So anyway, the astrology page gives you a personalized breakdown of your daily forecast. Sorry, I couldn't showcase that today. Well, maybe I can. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. And so you go to your forecast page, and it's going to give you the breakdown where it's going to tell you all the things that you need to know. It's even going to tell you like what kind of foods that you should eat and like what your best times of the day are. It's funny because I'm actually recording this between 10 to 12. So growth opportunities emerge for me in that, which is great. And then I actually have a ton of meetings tonight between 7 and 9 p.m. Wisdom and teaching ability shine. So look at that. It's beautiful. Oh, you can't even see that on your screen. Well, anyway, yeah, it gives you like optimal time breakdown in the bottom left corner here. And then it gives you like a lot of other great information too. Now, I am also working on a sacred secretion calculator. Okay, so this is going to tell you based on your astrology, whether you're male or female, all the times over a 6-month future projection period of when your cycle is going to hit. It's going to tell you what you should be doing, what kind of foods that you should be eating, and it's going to give you tracks day by day of the entire system. I can't show that now because I'm still working on it, but that's what's going to be in the next update. I'm hoping that's going to hit Monday or Tuesday. Don't sign up for this right now. I'm fixing the pricing structure, and I think this will probably go live Monday. But if this interests you, keep this logged. Okay, I'm going to keep talking about this. I'm going to keep bringing it up. But I love you guys, and I'm really appreciative that you guys are so great in being here for me. I am going to be traveling this weekend, so you might not see me until Sunday. So you might not have a video for Saturday, unfortunately. But I will be back Sunday, and I will continue to make videos. But I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Please consider signing up for my services and everything. And this video is already an hour long, so I'm going to stop it here. But I will see you guys hopefully over this weekend and next week. Lots of love, many blessings, and take care.